Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live, and it is my pleasure tonight to welcome our very special guest, Peter Drago Tiemann. Peter, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Biz.
It's an absolute pleasure. And Drago's movie, The Stairs, guys, is being released August 12th to theaters, sponsored and distributed by Fathom Events. If you want more information, please go to fathomevents.com where you can find all the information. Now, Drago, I had the pleasure of watching The Stairs early. I got a screener link. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
Nice.
now you wrote, directed this movie, as well as being the stunt coordinator on the movie. How did you come up with the storyline and the idea, and how did it all come together for you?
The storyline, it's pretty interesting because I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but the whole opening scene is me and my grandfather, a memory I had. And I knew that, with our budgetary constraints for this first film, that, we couldn't do like a big action film because action costs a lot of money, even if you're doing an independent film. And so I was like, okay, well, with our budget, we can do a horror film. So then I started trying to figure out, like, I knew I wanted like a hunting horror or, based off of my memory with my grandfather, and or like a hiking horror. And it ended up like fusing together, actually. But started figuring out, like, started off with, okay, going to definitely have a hunting sequence, and then where does that go from there? So then I started looking on the internet for like urban legends, because I definitely know I wanted a cryptid horror with a creature. And so all of the urban legends that I was stumbling across just really weren't filling that niche for me for this
Mm-hmm.
first time. And then I came across this forum where people were posting about like random stairs that they found hiking in the woods or, up on a mountain. And it like instantly dawned on me. I'm like, oh, this is great. That could be the catalyst.
Yeah.
And so from there, I called my partner, Jason Lowe, who was my writing partner, and just told him my idea. We sat in a room for 6 months and made an original story based upon just some random stairs in the woods that are kind of creepy for people to see.
I would say these stairs is now people might get the vision of these stairs like these old rickety wooden stairs. They're not. These are like mansion type stairs, which makes it very
Yeah.
unique. Now, how did you go from being a stunt coordinator and special effects, which is like your forte, to writing and directing a feature film? And did you take any of your experiences from like the set of Z Nation or Alone and apply it to the stairs?
For sure. Every production I've been on over the years, been 20 years in stunts, about 12 to 15 as a effects coordinator. And every production I've ever been on, I've always asked multiple questions. I'm like on set the whole time, right next to the camera, right next to the DP, right next to the director. And I was just constantly, hungrily asking questions, like why this lens and why this camera and why this setup. And just basically the last 20 years has been my on on the job training, and it just kind of came naturally. Where I got my background was a friend of a friend called me up in 1999, and they needed a guy to fall down some stairs for a little short film. And so I was like, sure, I could be this drunk guy that falls down some stairs. So went to the local Big Five, grabbed some padding and some hockey gear and threw it on, and then threw myself down the stairs. And then we did about like three different takes. And then I heard that it did really well in their festival market. And then a couple other of his friends started calling me because they were like, who'd you get to do this stunt? And then after about like doing two more films over the course of 2 years, I was like, man, I should probably like look and see if there's a school. Looked up the school, and there was the International Stunt School, which is actually in Washington State. Went through that, and then the rest is history. I've been doing it since 2001.
Is that where, I mean, right now, I mean, this is your directorial debut with the stairs, but is your heart, in stunts? And you've also dabbled a lot in special effects. Where does
Yeah.
special effects fit in with the stunts that you've worked on before?
Well, I come from the Pacific Northwest up in Seattle, Washington, Oregon, Idaho area. And there's not a whole lot of big projects. So for a stunt coordinator, like I'd be working full time, like down in LA or a major production hub, but not so much up in Seattle. It's mostly like a commercial town.
Hmm.
And so because of that, there's also not too many special effects guys, or if there is one, then, if a production comes in, they grab that guy, and then there's nobody else for any of the other productions. So I just started multitasking because I had a mentor in the pyro business that showed me how to do fireworks and pyro. His name's Rick Olson with Pyro Fire and Effects in Gig Harbor. And so it was just kind of a natural progression to go, hey, stunts deals with explosions and fire and car crashes. Why not cross over and do some special effects and, shoot some squibs and make some explosions and then, jump on it as needed if they need stunts.
Now,
so basically it was that.
When it comes to special effects, do you have any favorites from the past that you would call your inspiration, like the Savinis, the Bakers, anything like that?
Oh, what do you mean? Sorry.
Like, when it comes to special effects, you have like the greats from the past, like Tom Savini.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Who was? Did you have anybody that you looked at their work as inspiration?
Like Savini, I think does more of like creature effects, whereas I do more. I do mechanical effects, which is wind, snow, rain, explosions. So really, I didn't have anybody that I looked to. I'm a huge film fan of like all genres, and especially big special effects and stunts. And so I just really dissected a lot of films over the years and just knew what worked and what didn't. So, and then I had some really good mentors that, taught me special effects.
That is very important, especially in stunts. There are not that many schools. I've spoken to stuntmen before. There's not a lot of training schools, so it's a lot of on-the-job training. And you getting attached to an established stuntman, hanging with them, going along and learning the trade, and it has exploded. You have been in a ton of movies, and now you're a very well-established stunt coordinator. Now, going back to the stairs, what was your favorite scene to shoot, and which one was your least favorite scene to shoot?
I really didn't have a least favorite. They were all just fun and interesting. They were hard at times, like we had rain for a couple of days, but I really do not at all have a least favorite. I think they were all my favorite. Probably, other than doing the body burn, I would say probably the box truck or the campfire scenes were probably my top favorite scenes to do, just because it starts off in the day and then we move over to the night, and classic horrors at night. So get really excited once we went over to our night shoots. I was like just buzzing. I didn't even need any coffee at that point because I'm like, here we go, it's time for some horror.
Now, as a stunt coordinator, you're in charge of the stuntman, making sure they're safe, the set is safe. The burn scene, which we're not going to spoil, but was that you as the stuntman, or was it one of your other stuntmen that did that body burn scene?
That was me performing the end scene. We did it on the last day so that just to make sure safety wise that if I got hurt, I stumbled or injured myself, that we could get most 99.9% of the film in the can. So we did it the very last night. And then I had our stunt team is amazing. AJ, Ryan Spicard, Jason Lowe. We had Jeff Mendenhall, who was helping out, Brandon. We had a bunch of people on set that was just kind of all hands on deck. So that at that point, when I'm the performer, everything's taken away from me. There's no decisions. So that's why I have, AJ and Ryan take over, because it puts you in a certain state. Your endorphins are going, everything's kind of buzzing. So it's really good to hand that over to somebody that you can trust and pull it off. And they did. So I was able to just do the performance that night, and that was it.
And it would make sense you would do the body burn scene because you are very experienced. Was that a process in the decision, or did you as a director and the stunt coordinator say, you know what, guys, I'm going to take this?
Yeah, that was, I knew right away, I wanted to sneak something in, and a body burn would have been perfect. And so as me and my writing partner, Jason, were writing it, we were like, we got to put a body burn in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But since it was a character that I'm not going to mention for spoilers, since it was a character that's actually smaller than me, it was a little challenging, but that's the magic of film.
Exactly.
You can make anybody look small or larger based on
Camera angles.
The camera. Yep.
Now, with that in mind, did anything horribly go wrong? Not horribly, I guess that's not the right word, but did anything go wrong on the set while you were filming?
No, just I think the only downside was we had a couple of really dialogue heavy nights, and it started raining, and it was specifically around the stairs, and it just looked so bad that we ended up just calling it. And I think we went home early that night, and then we regrouped. And then for the next 2 nights, we were just like, we're going to go into the box truck and start shooting that scene. And then we had to put like all these dampeners on the top of the truck because the rain coming down off of the trees is so loud when it groups and creates big raindrops. So that was a hard part to get past because it sounded like popcorn, So luckily our sound guy sound designer pulled it off, and Tara, our person who was capturing the sound on set, did an amazing job that we didn't have to do any ADR, thankfully.
Good. Now, what made you decide to cast John Snyder in his role, and more importantly, in a horror film?
We really were looking carefully at kind of iconic figures that haven't been in a horror film or haven't been in any kind of breakout horror films, mainly because like I really love his acting. I thought he was amazing on Smallville, Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I grew up, with him as a kid, and thinking to myself, like, I want to be a stunt guy, and so like, kind of came full circle to accidentally have him on set and basically, act for us and be there.
Now, have you always been a horror? Because the majority of your work is involving horror, so I'm assuming you're a huge horror fan. Have you always been a horror fan?
I've always been a horror fan. I used to piss my mom off by sneaking out at night and like at midnight after she would fall asleep and watch the Elvira show. And
I remember that.
I still remember it to this day. It's like some good times, and like the cheesier the better. I was so young, like the cheesy was good because like at that point I was so impressionable. I'm glad I didn't stumble upon any hardcore, like Italian horror or any of those.
Yeah, any of the Dario Argento stuff. And,
yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that stuff. Now as an adult, I love it.
Oh yeah. He was great. Yes. Now, besides the Elvira show and stuff, what horror movies made the biggest impact on you and really cemented you as a horror fan?
I think truthfully, it was probably Evil Dead.
Love that.
And it was the first one, not the commercially successful one. I watched that. I was hooked immediately. I was just like, wow, what is this? And it just, cemented everything right there, like galvanized that it was different. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just was like, something's different about the production, the quality of the actors that were in it. And then when they came out with, the next one that was even campier and funnier, I was just like, I was sold. I just knew at that point.
Now let's talk about, the making of this film. When you and your writing partner sat to write it, did you have a production team that was ready to take it on, or did you guys write this and then go lobbying for production, and then eventually, how did it end up with Fathom Events, who is distributing it. The movie is being released, guys, on August 12th. So walk us through the whole process. Did you guys have that in place as you were writing it, or did it happen as you went along?
We had funding in place, and it was me and my producer partner, Amanda Jones. It's our production company, Wandering Dragon Productions. And so we knew what our budget was going into it. And that was another reason why it was so easy to kind of write the script. And I don't say easy lightly, because writing a script is not easy. But it was easier because we already knew what our budget constraints were, and to kind of like figure out all the problems that we're going to run in. But the problem was we were such a small production team. It was just me, my production partner, and Jason, my co-writer, and then anybody else, Ryan Spicard, in the beginning that we would just bounce ideas off of and or start location scouting. So really, until we were maybe 2 weeks to camera up, it was just like four of us doing everything.
Yeah. And I got to say, I'm a big supporter and fan of independent films. I think independent films are the backbone of the entertainment industry. Now, going deeper into the Stairs plot line, like we talked about in the pre-call, you took the basic, horror story, take a group of people, drop them into the woods.
Right.
But then from there, guys, when you watch the movie, you can throw all the cliches out the window. Whatever you've seen in past horror, do not expect it in the Stairs. A really unique twist. What inspired you to, I don't want to give anything away, but there are a lot of question marks in the movie. Is it paranormal, extraterrestrial? Is it a part of Earth? There's the question of even time travel. How did that all come together with you guys when you were writing it?
It was funny. We were, truthfully, me and Jason, we sat in my office for like 6 months, just yelling at each other and just slamming words down on a keyboard. And we were like taking ideas and throwing them up on the board on sticky notes. Like, what do you think about that? Cool. Yeah, let's do that. And then, it just kind of evolved to what it is now, with an amalgamation of so many ideas from him and me that it's kind of sci-fi, but it's like I feel it's more like interdimensional.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I would put it too. Guys, you got to watch this movie. We don't want to give spoilers away. We're not going to give spoilers away.
It's so hard for me not to. I want to.
Yeah, but you guys, you got to see this. It throws every horror movie in the woods, all the cliches out the window. Now, Adam Corson is the star of the movie. How did Adam get involved with the project?
Adam was through a casting agent, Jeremy Gordon, and he put him in front of us at the time. We're having like open casting, and had him read for it, do a little video, and I just knew right away that he was going to be perfect for the role. And I mean, the rest is history at that point. But yeah, he's just, his broad range of emotion and his delivery of comedy, was so important. And it wasn't just the delivery of the comedy, it was the subtlety of it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It was very subtle.
Yes.
Very subtle.
It felt like I was watching this live, when we watched it in the editing room. It felt like I was hiking with these people and experiencing this live and not just watching a movie. So it was so fun. He did an amazing job.
He did. Now, from the start of principal photography to wrap, how many days did that take?
I believe it was 19 days.
19
we
days.
we had 19 shooting days and we had weekends off. So it was just a little over a month.
Okay. Now, you have been on sets for a long, long time. Was there any surprises when you took the role, the big chair behind the camera as director, that you were not expecting? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, being such a veteran on sets, I don't know, sometimes I've spoken to people who directed for the first time. There are surprises. There aren't any surprises. So I want to hear your take on that.
The once we got shooting, everything just kind of fell in. It just became normal. What the hard part was is the night before. I woke up in the middle of the night. Everything was fine. Never had any problems. Woke up in the middle of the night and I was just like, what is going on? What am I doing? Like, why did people believe in me? You know, I just started having like the worst imposter syndrome happen. And I've never had panic attacks, never had that happen. And I was just like sitting there fighting myself for like 2 hours, knowing that morning, you know, in the next 4 hours, I had to get up. And I was just like struggling. And finally I was like, what do you know, dude, you've been on sets a bunch of times. Like, you got all these people that just are just trusting in you, you know, they believe in the project, like just go forward. So that was kind of a weird little monkey wrench. And then once we started filming, you know, it was fine after that.
So you have two other movies that are in pre-production. Did you just love the experience of directing that moving forward? I don't want to say leave behind, but you want to sort of put stunts, you know, as something you still want to do, but want to focus now on directing and writing.
Yes, I definitely want to focus more on directing and writing, but I'm also not putting stunts behind me because it is such a huge passion of mine. And I just love coordinating and I love doing rigging and, you know, and I don't just need to be a stunt coordinator, you know, even just jumping on a set a day or two here as a performer, you know, just, it keeps me going.
Now, as far as the subgenres that you want to do with the stairs and moving forward, you know, the stairs is a very hard movie to classify in the horror subgenre.
Yes.
It's such a mixture of so many different subgenres, but moving forward, as a horror fan and making movies, do you want to explore the whole wide spectrum of subgenres?
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I was telling you when I was going through originally, you know, looking for urban legends. There's some other things that kind of really spawn some other scripts that I want to do. Also, my writing partner Jason has an amazing idea for a classic slasher flick.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely want to do that. We were thinking of trying to get funding and get that up and running this winter, but we'll see. You know, winter's already fast approaching.
It is.
So, but yes, we definitely want to, you know, jump into a lot of genres. But I love science fiction. I want to do science fiction horror. I'd love to do just a straight up regular science fiction, you know, action film, obviously because of my background.
Mm-hmm.
But
now, when it came to how you were going to depict the stairs, the actual stairs in the movie, did you guys struggle when you were writing it and when it came to actually building the stairs for the set on what the final piece was going to look like?
No, I always had that in my mind from the very inception. I was like, I already knew exactly how I wanted to look, and that's, you know, the only thing that I didn't know was like lighting. At first, we were thinking about just putting, you know, like some sconces in the. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but the other offshoots of the stairs, and then eventually thought that it'd be really cool. I can't remember who came up with it, if it was Jason or Peter Spahn, who was our designer who built the stairs and also did our mechanical puppets for our movie. I can't remember who came up with the idea of the chandelier, but as soon as that was there, it was just so obvious that the chandeliers needed to be in there. So, but the look and feel of the stairs was there from inception. Okay. And then it just kind of grew, you know, when I handed it over to Peter Spahn to start building them.
Okay. Now, before you guys started writing the script, how long were you guys toying with the idea of this movie? Before you actually started putting anything on paper, or in this case on a computer, how long was this idea roiling in your guys' minds of making this kind of story?
This specific story, or just a story in general?
This story for Stairs.
This specific story basically happened December of 2019. And then me and Jason, my co-writer, started writing in February, and then we were done by May or June, I believe. So we worked on it for about 6 months. So really, the concept was very short.
Okay.
Or the idea of it.
Now, I have spoken to quite a few people who co-wrote screenplays. It's really different than a person who by themselves comes down and writes a screenplay. And people who co-write screenplays, they have a different methodology on how they do it. So when it came to The Stairs and your co-writer, how did you guys, assign tasks, for lack of a better term, and split up the work? And when it came to writing the dialogue and the scenes and the entire screenplay itself?
Man, that's a good one. I don't think that there was any tasks that we had set. It was there was moments where I would struggle on certain dialogue, and then Jason would pick it up, or he would struggle on a character's dialogue, and it just made sense to me, and I would jump on in. So really, it's like both of our flavors been sprinkled through that whole story, every dialogue, every character, every scene. There are a couple of scenes that, each of us really wanted to have and really pushed and fought to have those, and they're in the film. But I just can't remember which ones those are at the moment.
Now, one of the hikers is Doug, who's a very eclectic character. Whose idea was to come up with the character of Doug?
That was mine. It is a real life character that we love. That his name is also Doug, and he's the father of little Jesse in the movie.
Oh,
in real life.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and little Jesse, Thomas Withington, was on a episode of Z Nation.
Yes.
And since I was doing special effects on Z Nation, I saw his acting. It was his first role, I believe. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, man, when I make a movie, if it's going to be like anytime soon before he gets older, I really want to use him. And so I approached Doug, who was helping me with special effects. He was assisting me every now and then. And now he's a transpo captain, does transportation for film and TV. But yeah, that's a real character. And I mean, obviously, we made him more fantastic, but Doug in real life is very similar to Doug in our film, who, is just like makes off the cuff comments all the time. It's hilarious, but you can't help but love him.
But yet he has, when the stuff becomes serious, he has a serious side. And I like that the character is diverse and he's actually very likable. Is that what you were going for? Were you going for Doug to be, oh my God, this guy, let him die. Or did you want the audience to connect with Doug?
Really wanted the audience to connect with him because I think besides Adam's character, Adam Corson's, Josh Crotty, who played Dirty Doug, those were, our two favorite characters in there. And we thought it was very important to make him, a redeemable character and a loving character and, just over the top. And to Josh Crotty's, acting skills, I mean, he just pulled it off. So, I mean, you can write whatever you want to write, but it's up to the actors to read your script and then figure out what they want to do with it and your idea and your, scope of what you wanted. And in the end, really, it's all them. And Josh Crotty did an amazing job. Man, kudos to him. I love that character.
I hear this a lot where directors say 70% of the job of directing is casting, and then you just get out of the actor's way. Yeah. There's it's funny, like the process. I'm sure a lot of vets know this, but I didn't know, and it was like such a learning process on this that you come up with a story as a writer.
And then most directors just they get scripts and they develop them, but there's quite a few that also write and direct. But it's interesting when you create a story. You have a story and you have an idea of that story. Then you hand it to your actors, and the actors change it because of their performance.
Yes.
And now it's not really what you envisioned, because it can't be as perfect as you envisioned unless you're one of the greats or something. But it was just so awesome to be able to sit there and see it kind of start to grow up. Kind of went basically when you handed it to the actors, it's like it's in its teenager years,
Yeah.
and then you hand it off to the editor, and now they're in their 20s, and then after the editor, it goes to sound design and score, and now it's a totally different film again, because you've added all the music and stuff. So you're just watching this thing grow up over the course of a year or two, and it was just an amazing process for me. It was great.
Now, the setting of this film does take place in the woods, in the forest. Do you consider yourself a hiker, an outdoors person?
Yeah, I used to be King County Search and Rescue for many years. I was a ground pounder, and then went into the 4x4 Council, which is, anybody that would go and get hurt, twist an ankle, or we would also have Alzheimer's patients. So we'd go canvass, drive around, try to find the patient that got lost or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been an avid climber, hiker, bicyclist. I mean, I just love the woods, and Pacific Northwest has some of the best.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming, but the movie was obviously filmed in the Pacific Northwest. Is that accurate?
Yes. It was all filmed in Washington State, actually. I think most of the days were at Shoreview Park and Shoreline. And the film office there, the Shoreline Film Office, was just amazing. We actually lost our locations about a week before we were ready to shoot, and we had that place as a backup. And so I gave them a call. They helped us with our permits. They got them like last second for us, and we started shooting there. And then the majority of our night shoots were at my buddy Rory's house on Carnation, Washington. And then we shot the espresso scene at a live espresso place called the Espresso Chalet. Yeah. And that's actually where they shot the Harry and the Hendersons as well.
Really? Wow. Yeah. There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
And Captain Fantastic, I think, did. I think both of them did like little cameos there, or showed up and shot some B-roll.
That's awesome. Now, as the director, I assume you stayed with the film through the editing process, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Now, when that was all done and you sat and you watched the final product, were you like, all right, we got it. We did a good job. We got a good one here. Or did you like, man, I could have done this a little better. I could have done this a little differently. What was your reaction when you saw the final edited product?
My reaction on the final product was, I was pretty emotionally happy. I was just like, after everything that we did and the time that we took on the edit, and then just giving it over to everybody for music and stuff, it was a pretty emotional moment. And of course, you always look back, and it's a learning process. This is my first film. So, of course, I'm going to take all of the things that we did wrong, or the things that, I would have loved to have done on this film. Looking back in the editing, of course, you're like, oh, we should have got that, or we should have got more of this, but you can't live in that world. You have to just move on and then make another movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how hard was it to come up with the look of, let's call it, the antagonist in the film? Did that take a lot of going back and forth, and you guys coming up with different sketches and what you wanted this thing to look like?
Yeah, it was. We had the antagonist was played by a lady called Catherine, and she did an amazing job in that position. And so, because of her height and how small she was, there was certain limitations. So knowing that, we used a company, sorry, forgot what their name is, Bandersnatch Studios. And we were constantly asking, touching bases with them, like, what can we do? And the material that we're going to use was going to be really heavy and bulky. So knowing that going forward, it kind of helped us with our designs, and we kind of came up with a final design.
Okay.
You know?
Now, I love movies where the storyline is not given to us on a silver platter, where there's no thinking involved on the viewer. The Stairs is exactly that. It's not delivered on a silver platter. It leaves a lot up to viewer interpretation of what exactly is going on. Is that what your goal is, for the viewers to walk away with and let them contemplate it and come up with their own theories as to what exactly happened on that hiking trail?
Yes, that's some of my favorite moments personally, as a person that loves to watch film, is getting a film that just makes you think about it for a couple of days, or even on the drive home, like you stated.
Yeah.
You know, like having a discussion with your friends on the way home, you know, like, what the hell was that about? Or what was this thing? What do you think this about? You know, and we really wanted to add that to the film and not really tie anything up for the viewers. We wanted the viewers to be kind of a character in the movie that was there along every step of the road, and that they wouldn't have the answers. You would have to be stumbling upon it to know the answers, you know? So that's kind of the takeaway we wanted. And I think we got it.
Oh yeah, you definitely got it. Now, moving forward, hopefully the film is a big success. Are you open to making another one if it is really successful and there's a big demand, even if it develops a cult following? And you guys have so many different ways that you can take the story if it does move forward to another movie. Of course, everybody would love to have their movie become a franchise and a sequel.
Right.
But are you already playing with ideas? If that happens, we can go this way or that way?
Yes. As a matter of fact, since COVID happened, you know, it's a lot of time for contemplation, obviously. I was looking forward to a sequel, whereas Jason, my co-writer, was looking backwards to a prequel, which is great having a co-writer, because he started to kind of come up with an idea for a prequel, and I was like, oh, that's great, you know. And then I was like, here's my idea for the sequel. So it's like, you know, now we can sit there and mesh them together and try to get another 2 films out.
I don't think this is a spoiler. I'm pretty sure this is not a spoiler, but my impression when I saw the movie is the antagonist is something that is ancient to that area. I mean, like you said, it's up to interpretation. Do you see it that way?
Yes, that's exactly, again, what you were trying to tie in earlier about not handing everything to the audiences.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And it is. It's like, I mean, a lot of my influences are, you know, Lovecraft, Poe, Stephen King. I mean, a huge King fan. I mean, the Tower series is amazing. So, and it constantly delves into interdimensional travel and horrors, you know, supernatural and otherwise. And just definitely want to wrap all that into here. And it'll be really good to, you know, as the audience watches the film, you know, just pay attention to some of Jesse's lines. He alludes to, you know, other creatures that we did not show, obviously, in the film. So, you know, those will be coming out later.
Now, one of the very familiar faces on this film is Kathleen Quinlan.
Yes.
You know, she was in Apollo 13. Huge part in Apollo 13. Was it difficult to get Kathleen on this film? Did she love the script, sign on right away? How did she come on board?
I believe she really liked the script. Amanda, my producing partner, was asking me, you know, who do you see that you would really like to get for your different characters? And truthfully, I was like, well, the you know, for a low budget indie, the best place to put, you know, some veteran actors is like the grandfather and the mother of little Jesse, and, you know, maybe, you know, put them in like little cameo roles just to kind of seed some nice spice into the film.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were writing the grandma, she was just like, who do you see? And I was like, I would see Kathleen Quinlan. That's who I'd want.
She's a great actress.
She's amazing. I loved her in Event Horizon, Apollo 13. I mean, everything she's been in, she's just great. And in real life, she's just a pleasure to be with.
Yeah.
She's just so sweet. Yeah.
Now,
but she definitely. Oh, I'm sorry too. She just definitely just wanted to be on. And after a little bit of coaxing and letting her know, like, yeah, we'll give her some more screen time because the role that we had originally given to her was just so short. It was kind of a cursory role. Yeah. And as soon as I found out that she was really interested and wanted to come on board, I decided, I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to give her a little more screen time, which we did.
Okay. Now, the movie is officially releasing to theaters August 12th, Thursday, August 12th. Fathom Events is distributing it. How big is the reach going to be in theaters? Do you know how many theaters it's going to be released to? Do you know any kind of those specifics for our audience?
Yes. There's a link. You could put it up in your comments if you feel like you want to, Viz, to Fathom Events. We were told it's in 700 theaters US-wide.
Okay. And to let you guys know, Fathom Events is nice enough. They're giving us 2 tickets to give away to the premiere. And nice. I think that is really cool. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be giving away 2 tickets to the premiere of The Stairs on August 12th. I have seen this movie. It is a must-watch for any horror fan. Drago, you did an amazing job on the film. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work behind the camera. And hopefully we can have you back on after the movie is released so we can actually talk, get deep into the details after
let's do that.
After people have seen it. And like I told Drago, and you guys know, Adam Corson is going to be our guest right here on Dead Talk Live, like 4 days after the movie releases on August 16th. Peter, thank you so much for coming here. Any final thoughts you want to share with the audience before we say goodbye?
I just hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed making it, just looking forward to making more art with my team.
I got to tell you, as the day is getting closer, are you nervous?
Yeah, I am actually.
It's like, natural.
I go through like excitement and then like I drop down like, is it gonna, like, what's it gonna do? But like I said before, you just gotta kind of, it's its own entity now. It's out of my hands, so you just gotta let it be what it is. And
you're getting a theatrical release. I mean, it's not going straight to video on demand. That's huge. Right.
That's rare for indie.
Yeah, you're getting a theatrical release, and that says a lot. So that's, that's, guys, August 12th, the movie's being released. It's called The Stairs. Find it in your local theater. Definitely go check it out. Drago, thank you so much for being our guest today. I want to thank our audience for tuning in. Everybody stay safe, and until next time, stay walking. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Viz.
No problem.